Okay, guys. This final session is about retail technology and how it really affects us. So what I thought was I'd throw a few things in the air, and as the panelist comes in, may I invite the panelists here across, please? These are some of the big trends that have been identified as far as retail is concerned, which is everything is faster, quicker, omni-channel to omni-experience. This is another one of the key areas that we look at. And getting in line with the millennial mentality. What I mean by that is, we know about millennials, and we all know that by the year 2025, 75% of the workforce will be millennials. Everybody knows that? What people are forgetting, and if I had hair and if other people who had hair, they'll recognize that actually there's something else. 75% of the money spent, or the spending power, is with people over the age of 55. I call it the silver tsunami. And we forget the silver tsunami. We are so millennial focused that we forget the olders. That's number one. And the second issue is our life expectancy is growing. And because our life expectancy is growing, we're not going to live till 80, we're going to live till 100. So you have these people for 40 years to sell to. Ignore them at your peril, because I think the oldies are the ones who are going to spend most of the money. Seriously, it's just a thought. Can I just play a little video? This is from Forbes. It's a 2-minute video, and it talks about retail in the future, and that's a nice sort of backdrop to our esteemed guests. So enjoy this video. So, let me start with a very, very open question. We live in a retail-rich environment. How soon are we seeing the changes happening? Because we have so much retail inventory and so much new retail inventory being built in our part of the world. Nilesh, you're best positioned for that. What do you see? What do you see by 2020, and then more importantly, a few years later after that?
Retail is changing, of course, and retailers have to rediscover, as a lot of times all of us has been saying. The focus has to be more towards experientials. Retailers who are reinventing their business models, like what we saw in your latest video of Best Buy, right? Best Buy now today is saying, okay, you want to come to my store, you want to try out my technology, okay, take it home, keep it, right? And we'll come and collect from you. No problem if you don't need it, right? Best Buy is sending consultants to consumers' homes, right, to advise them on the right technology to buy. So retail is disrupted, will get consolidated. Retail will reinvent itself because it will become premium, as you rightly said, right? Theaters almost were dead and they came back. Mm-hmm. The same phenomenon I feel will happen in retail.
Retail would take a more omni-channel presence. Like the latest study from Google and everybody that has come out says that about 60% of the people are using the digital means to actually explore, discover a product, and then move on to the store to purchase, where they get the experience like Nilesh just mentioned.
So before you continue, for normal people, do you know what an omni-channel experience is? Can you explain what an omni-channel experience is,
When
please?
we speak about omni-channel, that practically means that a store, a retail has to give an experience across all kind of channels, which could be digital, physical, or experiential, could be social media as well. That's where a retail has to touch base with all its customers, and the encompassing thing is called omni-channel retail.
Thank you.
Now, when we speak about that, that's where things like digitally discovering a product, that comes in place. And that would also be where they're driven to more AI-based technologies, which could be Google Home, which could be Amazon Alexa, it could be all your new technologies coming in place there.
Omni-channel experience, I mean, amongst the mega trends that I was talking about, we are going into that space. Are we moving fast enough, Thibaut, in that direction? And you said something very interesting there, average technology well executed versus great technology and not followed through. We are seeing a lot of conversation around technology, but how much conversation is there around experience, and what kind of people are we hiring to deliver those experiences?
Yeah, the topic about hiring people is for us very important, okay? Because as you mentioned in your introduction, the sales advisor in probably 10 to 12 years ago were trained on knowledge, okay? They had to basically share a knowledge about the product, about the brand, whatever. And this knowledge now is given to the clients online or any other media. So basically what our clients are doing and what we are advising our clients to do is to change the way they recruit people, to basically understand that the customer journey has changed dramatically. And what now the sales advisor needs to do is to basically have this kind of 5 senses interaction where they basically interact with ethics, with recommendation and those kind of things. So the job description of the sales advisor needs to be revised completely. The question we ask to sales advisor when we hire them needs to be completely different, not how much you know, but how much you care with the people that are in front of you and how you can prove it. So from recruiting on knowledge, we are going to recruit on behavior. And knowledge will be basically given later. And after that, regarding the speed of this adaptation, there are brands that are forced to be early adopter in any kind of technology, okay, by nature. But there are very few, I guess, in my opinion, okay? And other brands needs to basically think twice before embracing this and this technology. Otherwise, you can basically lose your what you are famous for or why the people choose you. All the people do not choose you because you are advanced in technology or advanced in different kind of things. They might choose you for different factors. So when choosing and implementing a technology, am I requested to be the first one to embrace that? And is this new technology relevant to my brand?
Yeah.
And basically will help me.
We look at the overall supply chain because there are a lot of engineers in this group. So how are we, this is an entrepreneurial environment, a startup environment. Do you think we're doing enough in terms of building the entire supply chain, the back end, whether it's payment systems, the fulfillment, or the process? Nilesh, would you like to answer? And then perhaps we'll go to you, Rod.
Yes, as you know now, it's becoming a one-stop shop. So you cannot have one technology, you cannot have the other. But you need to make sure you have the right technology in your supply chain because the complexity nowadays is 10 times higher than it used to be back in the days. The Internet of Things was always implemented in the logistics, but nowadays, for example, you're retaining an inventory of 20, 30,000 SKUs. Back in the days, you had few players only who had that much inventory. So if you are not well equipped, if you don't have the right technology, if you didn't do a proof of concept for it, it's better not to implement it. This is how I see it.
Are we innovative enough in our entire supply chain, or are we just getting focused on key elements here and there?
Okay, we implemented just in time in 2005, right? It took a long time because we work with close to around 400 suppliers, right, locally, right? 400 brands delivering, and we wanted just in time. That means you're selling in, I don't want to carry inventory more than 2 weeks, and it has to move in, move out, and multiple stores. So we have come a long way, right, in terms of that. Technologies are available, RFID and other technologies are available, but unfortunately, the technologies are disjointed, right? I still cannot talk seamlessly to the system of all my 400 suppliers. That's the challenge, right? I have my system, I have the capability, but unless it connects with all my suppliers and it becomes seamless. So we still have a supply chain, following up with suppliers, calling them up, fill rates are down, you need to chase them up, they make errors, you need to come in. So it's still a lot of work in progress.
How many people have seen Amazon Go? You've seen Amazon Go's video, a few people, but I think it's worth watching it again. And the reason I want to do that is that what seems like a frictionless experience and seamless going in and out, actually there's a whole series of activities in terms of facial recognition, technology, payment system, all of them happening simultaneously. And while she's setting it up, I'll share a fun story with you. Our ruler here, Sheikh Mohammed, just one sec. Sheikh Mohammed gave a very hard time to the CEO of Dubai Airports about a couple of years ago, where he said, so why are people waiting in the immigration line? Why are people waiting in the immigration line? And we would like to bring it down to less than 1 minute. This is about 3 or 4 years ago. So everybody started working on trying to get iris recognition, IDs, et cetera, et cetera. Then about 18 months ago, His Highness saw this video at the World Government Summit. And within 48 hours, he pulled everybody in and he said, enough. From your challenge in the next 2 years is that at Dubai Airport, the wait time is 0. No wait time. 99% of the people walking through are perfectly normal, decent people. We know enough about them before they get on board. We know enough about them as they're walking through. So why are we actually blocking them at one point? Why can't they just walk through? And this was the inspiration to His Highness. And I think now can we play that? Because I think this is a really important one.
4 years ago, we started to wonder, what would shopping look like if you could walk into a store, grab what you want, and just go? What if we could weave the most advanced machine learning, computer vision, and AI into the very fabric of a store so you never have to wait in line? No lines, no checkouts, no registers. Welcome to Amazon Go. Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically. So, how does it work? We used computer vision, deep learning algorithms, and sensor fusion, much like you'd find in self-driving cars. We call it Just Walk Out technology. Once you've got everything you want, you can just go. When you leave, our Just Walk Out technology adds up your virtual cart and charges your Amazon account. Your receipt is sent straight to the app, and you can keep going. Amazon Go.
Fun, isn't it? But the technologies that go behind it, and we spoke about IoT, we speak about computer vision, all the sensors, the payment systems and stuff. How are we integrating all of this? I mean, you're in a consulting kind of environment. Do we have all the skills to pull this thing together? And how far are we from this? It's happening in Seattle, it's happening in other places. Why not Dubai?
What is funny is that when you look at these things on Amazon Go, the day they opened, there was a huge line in front of the boutique to try the things. So,
you just killed my presentation. But it's good.
Because it was what people were expecting, so they wanted to test it.
Yes.
And of course they could not cope with probably 8,000 people who wanted to have enter a small grocery shop. So it means that people want that and they want seamless experience. What we are, I think my point as a consultant looking at 200 brands in our clients' portfolio is that there are people that try, okay? Sometimes they fail, but sometimes they learn, okay? And those who are trying, okay, we are working, I will just quote this brand because they were the first, Burberry, in the premium segment to put an iPad, an iPhone in their hands of their sales advisor. It was something like 8 or 9 years ago, all over the world and so on. They try, they fail. Why? Because the content on the app was exactly the same as the content of the website, but people were arriving. Did you see this video? Yes, 20 times. Ah, okay, thank you. But they are trying, okay, and now this kind of company that are trying, little by little, are more advanced than the other one. What we believe in that is same as e-commerce, same as the other things. You may try a little bit, but you are in. You are not out, you are in. So maybe you are not perfect, but you have a team, you have a P&L, you have people testing it, okay? And how fast you go, it's basically based on the skills you have in your company. But for us, what technology and what all the things are telling our clients is, did you try, okay? How many times did you try? And are you a kind of people that are afraid about that and basically say no because in your own history, you didn't use technology or didn't want to have it, so you are against that? Or do you have like Accor Hotel, they have this shadow executive committee with people below 30 years old which are basically validating or not the decision of the big board? Are you a kind of company that is basically open to change and testing? Okay, we believe in pilot. We believe in small things, same as Amazon. They are publishing a video worldwide. It's one shop in Seattle for the moment.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, Nilesh, quickly.
Okay, let me add. This is the future, right?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of challenges in physical retail which needs to be solved, right?
But is it the future? Because this has already been launched. And if we are talking about Moore's Law, then this thing is going to double in the next 18 months.
There are challenges bigger than this, right? In the existing retail, right? Why? Because when a consumer is walking into a physical retail, what is his expectations, right?
Yeah.
First expectation is, whatever I searched online, I need to see the same information inside the store. We spoke about omni-channel, right?
Yes,
so that means your supply chain has to get more integrated, right?
Yeah.
Point number 2, what price I saw online, I need to see it the same. So right now what we are doing is we are integrating our web and moving into digital fact tags, connecting. That means the same content. So we have developed our information hub, where if you do one ERP change in terms of information and price, it has to reflect seamlessly everywhere, whether it's a web, app, inside the store, right? Second, he needs to find that item there, because why does a person walk into the store? Apart from touch and feel, he does not want to be in a situation where you say, sorry, I'm stock out, right? So how do I do a predictive analytics and based on who is walking in, what I'm selling, I ensure that when you walk in, 99.9% the product is available. Now, these are the bigger challenges where you'll have to solve in the supply chain, your forecasting, your predictive analytics, before you reach to this point. Because we have to solve some of the basics.
Absolutely. A quick comment, Pradhan?
Just to add to what Nilesh had earlier mentioned when he was in his keynote speech, was the fact that the retail, when a customer walks in, is free for the customer. He's not signed up. Anywhere when we are talking about a walk-in and walk-go, it's good if we are looking at it more on a convenience store level. But when we are talking about more on a bigger scale and talking about like multiple retailers having their checkout and walk-in, walk-out stores, just as you go technology, it becomes more difficult because that many more stores need to have apps on your phone. That many more people will have to, check. You have to register with every single retailer, get onto their loyalty rewards. That is where it becomes a challenge. Now, getting a customer, hanging onto the customer and engaging a customer, those are 3 very different aspects in a digital space. Secondly, when I say about Amazon Go, they actually have started out as a prototype. They took 18 months before they went to public. The store was there. I actually walked up to the store and was not allowed to go inside. So they said it's just open to Amazon employees. That was like 10 months ago. So they opened 6 months ago. They had issues. They have still got an error rate of about 2%. Now, when you're talking about grocery retail, 2% is a huge impact on your margins. Amazon is taking that cost because it's a prototype. How they scale it up, we still have to see. And again, scaling up from one store is there. But if you have 100 stores who are doing the same thing, will you carry 100 different apps to check in and check out? That's the next challenge to do.
Great, thank you. I'll ask another couple of questions and then we'll open it to the audience. One of them which keeps coming up is the word shared economy. How is the shared economy going to affect the retail environment? And then let me qualify with that. So if I'm, I don't know, if I want to get a canoe or something like that, or any kind of special equipment or technology in your case, providing product, do you feel that there could be heavy competition to the retail store by putting the Uber or the Airbnb for shared computers, shared laptops, shared cameras everywhere? Because, you know, we don't use any of our product more than around 10% of the time. So it's sitting idle for 90% of the time. Whether it's our car, whether it's if we start getting into that shared economy, how does that impact retail? Or is the retail engaging ahead and still saying we're expecting the shared economy, so we are now creating that whole process? Have I articulated that properly? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So anybody?
Yeah, we had this year 2 focus in our yearly study. One is renting versus owning.
Okay.
And the other one was purchasing second-hand versus purchasing new. Okay. And the results we had all over the world was pretty spread out by nationality. Okay. For example, Chinese, they will not like purchasing second-hand. It gives bad luck. They are afraid to purchase from dead people. Brings bad luck. So sometimes you could have the best technology, best offer, second-hand products in China. There is a strong barrier in mind. Okay. In the US, amazing business. And renting versus owning, again in China, that will be the future. In the US, 49% of our respondents said, I would consider seriously renting versus owning, okay? And in luxury fields, okay, for watches, for handbags and so on, you already has very nice player. And we do believe, and Kering Group is working on it, to be a client of a brand by subscription. You are going to pay a fees per quarter or per year to be a client of Prada, of Hermes, of Gucci, of IWC, Rolex. And this subscription will give you some access to certain product, basically on the price of you pay a subscription. So we do believe that renting versus owning is something that the brand needs to look at, and purchasing second-hand versus purchasing new, it will happen also because of millennials also that are more into saving, environment and so on. But be careful of the nationality split for second-hand product.
Fair comment. Just a quick comment, and then we'll start the audience questions. Anybody else? Shared economy, is it going to affect you guys? Rod, is it going to affect your business?
This is the future of the economy. This is how I see it.
Right.
And it's a must to keep on promoting it, because if you look at the millennials, this is all what they like to do at this point. They don't like the conventional and the traditional way of doing business. And my main role today is just to make sure to cultivate a culture among our customers to go and to think about outsourcing and about the shared economy. We have an obstacle, a main challenge, which is the cultural background. Some nationalities, they don't like outsourcing, they don't like the sharing, they like to own the product.
Yeah.
And this is our job to show them that it's going to be much more profitable, much more easier, and much more reliable to go into a shared economy model.
One question to you, a rhetorical question. I'll come to you now. Rhetorical question. How many people in this room have a degree in psychology? 0. One. And she's a photographer because she's actually engaging. How many people in this room have a degree or qualification in anthropology? 0. How many people in this room have some kind of a qualification, understanding, in-depth research in ethics? 0. There's a gentleman right at the back. He has a degree in ethics. We just don't study these things anymore. And what all of the people here said, oh, it's cultural. Who understands cultural? So if you've got young kids, ask them to go for ethics and anthropology degrees. If you're older yourself, please go and take something yourself, because that will give you muscles that you don't currently have. And I think it's going to really, really help the retail sector, because actually at the end of the day, it's about that human connection that comes in. All right, so that's, sorry, I got into speech mode. Yes, ma'am.
Just carrying on from that, actually, talking about ethics, one of the issues that I haven't really seen discussed today is that of sustainability.
Brilliant.
Spoken of getting in tune with a millennial mindset. That's
Yes.
very important for the millennials, as we know, as for many of the rest of us. Is sustainability a trend? I mean, you haven't mentioned it. And if so, where are we going to see that in the future?
Being in an industry where we generate a lot of electronic waste, right, to start with, right? So we are trying to work on sustainability. First of all our stores are getting converted into LED, right? Because to save power and say. So we invested in LED technology so that all our stores, what you see, the new stores being built is built with LED. We're moving into solar. Okay, our Times Square store is already gone into solar, so we are offsetting. Then we are getting into, we are working on packaging where we get into biodegradable plastics, right? We have introduced applications where we are trying to become paperless, right? So like what we have done is we took an application called Freshdesk where my complete customer care department, some 100-odd people, have become paperless. That means each transaction gets converted into a ticket, and then you have the analytics, and you run like this. So then comes in terms of electronic waste. Yes, we work with Dubai municipality to collect electronic waste, right, and then responsibly then dispose of it. That's a starting point. But ideally, we'd like to see to come to a stage where people willingly bring this waste out of their house, because we keep a lot of our stuff which we don't use anymore, but we still keep it in the house, right? Okay, or we dump it off, right? A lot of us don't know how to dump these products. So we really take further steps in terms of awareness and in terms of how this waste can be collected and how the waste can be responsibly used or recycled.
Thibaut, you said that you consult with 200 companies. Do you find that sustainability is something that they are conscious, or is it just a little CSR activity that they like to do on a PR basis?
So yeah, there is brands that are afraid about that, and there are brands that are willing to be a leader. Okay, we work a lot with the Kering Group, and Kering Group, they are very advanced in that. They are most of the time in the top 5 player in the sustainability, and they are a part of our clients' portfolio that are afraid about that.
Yeah.
They work in diamond, very afraid about that in diamond, because in diamond you cannot imagine the impact on the planet to basically take out from Earth a small piece like that, and it's terrible for the planet. So what is happening in their industry is that you have now what they call grown live diamond. What I learned recently is that a diamond, it's carbon that you can find everywhere in the world with pressure and temperature. So carbon is free of charge, you have it in the air, and what you need is pressure and temperature. So now there is company in India, in the US, that are basically with a machine creating perfect diamond that nobody can notice the difference between a diamond coming from the earth and diamond coming from a lab, okay? And it's a big stress for the diamond industry, because for sure the millennials, if they are in front of a window display, grown live diamond, real diamond, natural diamond, 40% less, full price. What's your choice? You have a diamond with no blood in it, the blood diamond, what happened to De Beers a couple of years ago. You have a diamond which is saving nature, which is costing 40% less. Or you have the natural diamond, full price. You don't even know it's basically kill African people or whatever, and so on. So here in the kind of sustainability, there is some part of the industry where there will be for sure hit big time in the coming years because of this angle of sustainability, and people will not be willing to basically purchasing exactly the same. This has no impact on our planet, and this has an impact on our planet. I will go for that.
Thank you, Thibaut. All the women I've ever known, try giving them a fake diamond which is 40% cheaper. Doesn't work. So I think the point I'm trying to say is that there's a behavioral shift that needs to click in before all of these elements of sustainability start kicking in. Padam, quick comment.
Quick one on this. Sustainability was one of the key motivators when we started Clip the Deal. We actually wanted, so one of the big things what Clip the Deal does is it publishes deals directly from brands and for grocery space. Now, if you look at the grocery space, you look at any retail, you see loads of these pamphlets that are distributed, like in millions. It costs money, it leads to a lot of use of paper. So that's where Clip the Deal, when we started looking at it, we said it's going to be completely digital, putting up deals. So that's where, for us, it was very important that we cut down on that waste, if we say paper that is being used in it. Secondly, as we have gone along over the last 3 years, one of the steps that we have taken is we have completely digitized everything, every single process. So our company is practically, on our side, paper-free. There's no paper, even if it's an invoice, it is all digital. So it's as simple as that. We have just ensured that we are working towards that.
Great.
And again, it's important for us as a generation.
Thank you.
Sustainability.
We have a question here. A quick question, please.
Good morning. My name
Stand
is Badal. I'm a part of Pearl Quest. We run this company with virtual reality and interactive technologies and a little bit of smart retail. My question is to Mr. Nilesh. You said 90% of retail is still brick and mortar, and this scenario is definitely changing with more bandwidth. And my question is, with technologies like VR, the whole retail landscape seems to change because what you said, how a customer gets engaged with all his senses, currently in an e-commerce space, it's only visual. But with VR, it is going to be even more. Like you can actually feel you're walking into the store and you can pick up a product and, it's almost as close to reality. So do you see this as a opportunity or as a threat to the overall ecosystem?
Definitely, it's a promising technology, right? But it has got a way to go because, again, I said 5 senses, right? Retail has to be 5 senses, right? So it has to way to go to develop those 5 senses. But it's an opportunity for us is if customer is able to experience in a virtual world and then comes to our store, right, and buy, right? So it's definitely an opportunity for us because then when you work with technology, as I said earlier, it becomes more simpler than working with humans, right? I face bigger challenges with humans because they have an emotion, they have a mind of their own, right? And if you want to train a human, like what we are trying to do right now, we're using an application to gamify and understand their behavior and how, and their knowledge and what we want them to do, right? So we have launched an app which currently is being piloted in our Dera City Center stores where 50 sales executives are playing that game. And that game motivates them, and then we understand how this person will behave when we put him. It's like a simulator, right? There's another thing what we are doing with the salespeople is there is another AI-based app which we have. It is called Infido, which pings my employees to understand their emotions, right? So it says, oh, you have completed 1 year. How do you feel, right? And based on that, it's a chat app, and then the employees chat, and then it gives us an indication of who is happy, who is not happy, what is the emotion, and top 3 things which the organization needs to do, which is affecting the emotions. So yes, it's a promising technology, and it's an opportunity for us, but then it has to get developed further.
Thank you. Sir.
Yes, good morning. There was a question on the fact that all organizations need to continue their quest for customer experience and that customer engagement and having that quality of engagement that's going to continue in generating loyalty. Now, if you take the loyalty curve in conjunction with that service going up by all organizations, how do you see that evolvement of customer loyalty and that continuation of customer always coming back, bearing in mind that everyone is trying to get onto that experience curve that everybody wants to get to?
Padam, do you want to talk about that? I mean, customer loyalty at the moment, are we actually very loyal anymore?
It's a question that has different answers to it because people have different opinions. But if we talk about customers are not very loyal as we speak, they will just go for one, good deals, the other is good experiences. So either it's price or experience that people go for. And that's where, if you have to continuously define and actually deliver on it, So Nilesh touched on it earlier. He said that on products, we have to meet the price which is being offered by online players, right? So that shows that the loyalty towards buying has moved towards the price. It's not, I find the best price online, I'll go and buy it there. If I find it in store, you price match guarantee, I'll go and buy it in store. So loyalty that way is shifting. But the only place where Teva comes in is the great, what we say, luxury brands where experience matters. Now, luxury retail continues to be more focused towards offline physical stores because it's all about experience there. So loyalty has different answers for different people there.
Is it about experiences or is it about the influencer who tells you what to go and buy? So it's not about the experience, it's about the experience with the influencer. Ma'am, why don't you ask a question?
My question is actually about forecasting. I've heard you guys talk about millennials a lot, but there's Generation Z coming afterwards. There's baby boomers and the others, which I don't know up front. And all these people have adopted technology. I'm just interested to know, like, when you're preparing your business models, do you just make models specific to millennials, which probably most people here fall in, or do you consider Generation Z and other people who've come before, especially in technology, like when you're coming up with new technological ideas or when you're doing things in Sharf DG, who's your big market and what's the purchasing power? How do you forecast and say, this is what I'm going to have in the store because this age group can buy more? Do you understand?
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. The depth of forecasting and analysis, I mean, we have so much going on.
I'll be honest, today we have just moved into the how do we forecast. Usually our industry used to forecast based on past sales, right? But especially this year we saw a complete change when VAT was introduced in December, where December sales were almost for 2 months, right? So the sales just spiked. And then January, the sales went down the whole industry went down by 36-40%, right? So again, how do you forecast in these kind of scenarios, right? So generally the industry takes the past data and tries to forecast, right? But now we are moving into it, especially retailers like us, we are moving into the customer lifetime value concept. That means whatever purchases the consumer has made, right? We know what you have bought from us in the last 4 or 5 years, and then we are trying to mine the data. We have not reached and perfected it, but we are still in the process of perfecting of how do we forecast based on who you are, what you have bought, right, from us, and how do I predict what you will buy, right? Because even the biggest of companies, like I was in the Intel conference, they also don't have an idea, because their research is saying that, I don't know whether you'll believe it or not, but the fact has come out that consumers take 7 years to replace their laptop. 7 years worldwide. Can you imagine? We replace cars here in 2 years, right? 3 years. They're taking 7 years. Now, how do you forecast that? And they are really, they have hit the ceiling and they say, I don't know what to do, right? Because their business is to sell more wafers. And he says, if customers are taking 7 years, oh man, I don't know, right? So this is how the industry is. Yes, we are from technology industry, but we really don't understand the consumer because we have been selling products. And now we have said, look, we need to understand the consumer in more detail of who he is, who she is, and how does she or he behaves.
Thank you. Thanks, Nilesh. Quick comment. Quick question here, and one last one, and then we close. Please.
My question to Nilesh and Thibaut, based on your experiences, we know in Dubai and the UAE, the retail industry has been very difficult to change and to adopt startups and open to adopting new technologies in their retail operations. But I think now it's the right time actually, because we see them more open based on market condition to adopt these new technologies. So my question is, what advice you give based on your experiences to corporates to have a more open culture toward welcoming these new technologies and to work with startups, and what advice you give to startups to have the right attitude in working with corporates, because sometimes this can be where the conflict can start and the work can't take place between both of them.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay, so I will answer from a customer experience point of view agency. we are a global company, so we measure customer experience all over the world, okay? What we are observing in the Middle East and we are not observing in the other part of the world is two things. First, we ask the clients of the brand how happy you are with Sharaf DG experience, and they give us a certain answer. And then we ask the salespeople, how do you think your clients are happy about your experience, okay? In the Middle East, it is the region where there is the highest unconscious incompetence, meaning that the people, the sales advisor, believe that they are doing an amazing job, but when we ask the clients, there is a huge gap. There is two countries where the opposite, it's Korea and Japan, okay? But in the Middle East, people, sales advisor, okay, we are doing thousands of evaluations on a yearly basis, believe that they are creating more or less 80% of very satisfied clients, but the reality is between 35 to 40%. So first, we need to take care of the people, telling them where they are in terms of customer experience and how they treat people in the retail. And based on that, technology will help, okay? And when we understand where we need a tool to cope with the difference between clients' expectation and what is delivered right now, then the technology will be arriving spot on to tackle the issue, okay? But there is this gap to understand between people that are claiming that they are doing an amazing job in customer experience, the traffic is very well optimized, and everything is doing smoothly, and you ask the people the same questions, and you have a 100% gap between 40% and 80%.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much. My name is Rami. I'm from a company called My Bazaar. My question is more on this omni-channel retailing and what needs to happen. I see a lot of the big retail houses here. They jump into online. We have to get online. Oh my goodness! I think our sales are going, south because of online, and they're stealing. And that's not really. Well, we're not really sure if that's the case. But what they have is the advantage of having physical stores. So what's going to be the evolution? What needs to be the evolution of this online offline experience? And you hear terms such as clicks to bricks and online to offline and all that kind of stuff. What can they do to leverage this more? And it seems right now, Nilesh just talked about integrating his online with his offline, but what's the next step? What has to happen more to really leverage that, to actually make it an advantage, not just to have these two kind of silo businesses happening because they feel like they need to?
A quick snap response on the next step, because we're running out of time, actually.
Yeah, so the next step is we expect consumers to do their research online, because today the data is showing 40% of our consumers who are walking into our stores do their research online and then walk into the stores, but we are not doing the job good enough to give them the best of the experience. So what we expect them when they walk into our stores is the product should be available, and I should get an excellent demo, or where I am able to test drive a product and take a decision and walk off. Right? Okay. That is how will be the next evolution.
We are in a startup environment, an entrepreneurial environment, so I'll just ask a quick 1 minute, a 10-second response from each one of you. If you guys had $1 million right now to just literally throw away, which one space would you invest in? Because a lot of people here are startups and so on. What would that be, one industry that you would just throw in at an early stage, $1 million? Yalla,
Gourmet Hub, shared economy.
Shared economy, app to kill the retail industry by sharing every stuff and creating a new space. Brilliant, thank you, sir.
I don't have one. I don't have one. I have actually two. Being in the startup hub right here, so that's what I can tell you. One is big data. For me, that's simple. You put money into it, you customize products for your customer, and you get it done. The other would be get a good P2P wallet, payment wallet, to get a good payment system in place. The country, there's certain regulations around it, it's not allowed. It's only within one bank or something, but a good P2P wallet is something which is required for online e-commerce to benefit as well.
Okay, super, sir.
Yeah, I need a technology to engage my frontline employees, because the experience and the engagement, if they enhance, our results depend on that, because today I have no means. I can only see sales from the store. So I need an app which can engage with my frontline employees and improve the experience inside the store. So that is what I would like to invest. Yesterday.
Yesterday, okay, yes sir.
So yeah, I will take a similar answer as Linish. I will invite in profiling. I will invest in a technology that basically understand the human interaction and make it more smooth. The mindset of our company is to transform a transactional moment into an emotional and relationship moment. So I will invest in a technology that create loyalty.
Brilliant. I will work with these two gentlemen and create the non-technology environment for the emotion and the human connection part. Because I think we keep forgetting that, and the only reason all of you folks come to a place like this, you can get more information on the net than you got what you got here. But you come in because you connect. We are social beings, and we need to be able to start looking at those new areas and hire psychologists and people like that in the soft skills. And I think reinforced with technology, that human part, I think will define our future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry we got on.